It's an unrivaled league, and the ratings are an embarrassment. They're a statement about how little interest there actually is in women's basketball beyond Caitlin Clark. The fact that they can't reach a CBA agreement and be confident that there's actually going to be a 2026 season of the WNBA because these idiots, Angel Reese and the rest, are like, oh man, if y'all not paying us $1 million, $2 million a season.
Those ratings aren't just bad, they're a disaster. And they expose something the WNBA power structure really doesn't want to say out loud. Without Caitlin Clark, people aren't tuning in, period. And what makes this worse is that some of the very players who benefited from the attention she brought are now threatening to derail the entire 2026 season, demanding NBA level pay while playing to half-empty arenas.
Yes.
And nope, not good enough. We're not budging. We're not negotiating. The entire season is up for grabs. But, and here's how they got there. This group of women, delusional, allowed Nafisa Collier, whose husband and her and Breanna Stewart have started a rival league to the WNBA. They've allowed them to be the leaders of their negotiation for a new CBA agreement, collective bargaining agreement.
Let's actually talk about how wild this situation is. The league has already put 7-figure contracts on the table. 7 figures to play about 40 games in a league that loses money every single year, and the response, not enough. No negotiations, no compromise. Now the entire season is on the line because Angel Reese and others believe superstar money is owed to them no matter what the business reality looks like. And here's the part people aren't paying attention to. The person leading these talks isn't some neutral third party.
Women, delusional, allowed Nafisa Collier, whose husband and her and Breanna Stewart have started a rival league to the WNBA. They've allowed them to be the leaders of their negotiation for a new CBA agreement, collective bargaining agreement in the WNBA. People that have started a competitor to the WNBA are leading the negotiations for a new WNBA contract. This is insanity and retardation that we have never seen.
Think about what that means. Nafisa Collier, whose husband runs the unrivaled league, a direct competitor to the WNBA, is leading collective bargaining for WNBA players. Her business partner, Breanna Stewart, is right there alongside her. They've launched a rival league and are now negotiating the future of the WNBA itself. Imagine the NBA letting LeBron James negotiate the CBA while also starting a competing league. That wouldn't just be a conflict of interest, it would be sabotage disguised as empowerment. And somehow, the rest of the players are fine with it.
Let's replay Nafisa Collier when she was talking tough and everybody's applauding her. You go, girl. Kathy Engelbert, they're not paying you guys what you're worth, and we're not paying Caitlin Clark what she's worth. Play the
league believes it succeeds despite its players, not because of them. I have the privilege of watching my husband run a league where he has to balance 100 different things at once. I won't pretend the job is easy, but even with all of that on his plate, he always takes the time to reach out to players when he sees an injury, whether it's unrivaled or even during the WNBA season. That is what leadership looks like. It's the human element. It's basic integrity, and it's the bare minimum any leader should embody.
Now watch this carefully. This is Collier's big opportunity to explain why the WNBA supposedly needs new leadership. And what's her main criticism of Commissioner Kathy Engelbert? That Engelbert doesn't personally call players when they get injured, that's it. That's the great leadership failure. Meanwhile, Collier's husband, whose league polled about 30,000 viewers for its championship, gets praised as a visionary because he sends congratulatory texts. That's not serious analysis, that's emotion replacing facts, feelings overriding economics. And this mindset is exactly why women's sports keep collapsing under their own weight.
It's all feelings over facts. It's there's no logic here. Hey, just pay us what we want. I don't want to hear about paying us what's sustainable. Just pay us what we want. We feel like we're owed this amount of money. And we've convinced America that 23 and 24-year-old women coming out of college that paying them $70,000, $80,000 a year for a 4-month job is
Here's the reality check no one wants to hear. $70,000 for a 4-month job straight out of college is not oppression. It's not exploitation for most Americans with a degree. That would be an incredible starting salary. And these players earn that while playing in a league that loses millions of dollars. Comparing this to men's sports is intentionally misleading. NBA rookies earn millions because the NBA brings in billions, the WNBA does not. It survives entirely because the NBA subsidizes it. Every paycheck comes from that support, whether players like hearing that or not.
Oh, well, you should have been a basketball player. Or these women are great basketball players and they deserve more than that. No, they don't. I went into a profession that at the time, sports journalism, the newspaper industry, that was turning a profit. And they paid me $5 an hour. And I didn't complain. I thanked them. But the Bloomington Herald-Times was turning a profit. The WNBA loses millions of dollars a year. And I got a 4-month job that pays me $75,000. I'm undervalued. I'm underappreciated. I've been mistreated. This is lunacy.
The newspaper industry was profitable when it paid $5 an hour. The WNBA loses millions and still pays rookies roughly $75,000 for 4 months of work, plus housing, travel, and benefits. One of those situations involved real exploitation. The other involves players convincing themselves that losing money on their behalf is somehow a moral obligation. And this is where ideology becomes genuinely destructive. Once you decide that pay should be equal regardless of revenue, viewership, or basic math, you've disconnected entirely from reality. You can't build a sustainable business on entitlement and emotion.
But she's nuts. And she's surrounded by other nuts that are confirming her nuttiness. She's going to sit here and preach. And again, I'm not a big defender of Kathy Engelbert because she's a nut too. But sitting there holding a press conference scolding them because your husband is the president of the unrivaled league and he's now smarter than her and he knows more about what to do than her. Are you kidding me? It's crazy.
She isn't wrong about everything. Nafisa Collier is talented, comes from a solid background and has had a successful career, but she's surrounded by people who reinforce her worst ideas instead of challenging them with facts. And now she's leading negotiations that could destroy the league that made her career possible. Commissioner Kathy Engelbert does deserve criticism, just not for the reasons Collier gives. The real failure isn't missed phone calls, it's pretending the league's financial problems don't exist and enabling this kind of delusional thinking in the first place.
Caitlin Clark anymore, because she's halfway crazy for not coming on air somewhere and saying the things that I'm saying. Hey man, y'all crazy. We better take this contract they offered us and be thankful, because it's all from the private flights to the salaries we're getting paid. It's all charity. It's all welfare. And let's be appreciative. And then once we start making real money, then we'll go for the stupid superstar contracts like the NBA players have. But we're not there yet.
And this is where it becomes personal for a lot of fans, myself included. Caitlin Clark had a chance this season to be the voice of reason. She could have said what everyone was thinking: these demands aren't realistic. The league can't afford them, and the investment players are getting is unprecedented. Instead, silence. She goes along with it. She lets Collier and Angel Reese steer the conversation straight off a cliff and says nothing. At some point, silence turns into complicity, and it becomes hard to defend someone who won't defend the league that signs their checks.
It's all playing off of how, the people within the Wall Street or whatever, they caused the collapse that damaged all of us and cost all of us. It cost me a lot of money. I lost so much money on the house I had in Kansas City. Anyway. But here's Megan Rapinoe in her latest commercial begging for LeBron James to come over and play basketball in the WNBA and for Messi to come play soccer against her. But anyway, play the clip.
When you're young, you believe that you can do anything. And then the world tries to set limits for you.
Tell you what's allowed,
What's normal?
who you're supposed to be.
But on the field, the track, the court, here, you get to be exactly who you are.
Because at our core, we're still the kids who just want to play. The go big game changers.
The living, breathing fabric of this country.
Supporting trans youth isn't just about sports.
It's about freedom.
On and off the field. It's more than a game.
Megan Rapinoe has teamed up with the ACLU to promote the whole transgender deal. And if you listen to that commercial, and for those...
Now we're seeing the next predictable step. The ACLU commercial featuring Megan Rapinoe pushing transgender participation in women's sports. The messaging is all about self-definition, rejecting limits, and reshaping reality around feelings. It's the same ideology at work. The same rejection of objective truth in favor of subjective emotion. The same insistence that facts must bend to identity rather than the other way around. And it always ends the same way when organizations prioritize feelings over facts, identity over performance, and ideology over economics. They're building on sand. Eventually it all collapses. Interview 1224-1352. Here's what makes this especially devastating. The WNBA had a rare moment this season. Caitlin Clark brought real momentum, record viewership, packed arenas, mainstream attention. The league could have used that to build something lasting. Instead, it wasted it. Players attacked their biggest draw. Racial grievance politics took over the narrative. Union leaders with massive conflicts of interest torpedoed negotiations. Now a work stoppage threatens the league's survival, and here's what players don't seem to understand. Fan loyalty in women's basketball is fragile. It's not generational like the NBA. People tuned in for Caitlin Clark, not for the WNBA as a brand. If there's number 2026 season, those casual fans won't wait around. They'll move on. The unrivaled ratings prove it. 30,000 viewers for a championship game featuring supposed stars. That's not an audience, that's a rounding error. It shows how little marketability exists without the WNBA's infrastructure. And yet, the person negotiating the league's future is demanding salaries that would require 10 times the current viewership, threatening to cancel an entire season, and somehow this is being framed as strong leadership. This is what happens when empowerment slogans replace economic literacy. When confidence gets mistaken for competence and volume gets mistaken for truth. The $5 an hour comparison was never about diminishing anyone's worth. It was about sustainability. Newspapers paid poorly but made money so they could keep operating. The WNBA pays relatively well and loses millions, which makes the model unstable. One system could continue indefinitely, the other is headed for collapse. Calling this out isn't sexism, it's basic business math. If costs exceed revenue, you cut costs, grow revenue, or shut down. There is no magical fourth option where losses just don't matter. The NBA has subsidized the WNBA for years out of goodwill and a genuine desire to grow the sport. But that support isn't endless, and if players force a shutdown while demanding more and more, the NBA has every right to walk away. So here's the real question. Is this the hill worth dying on? Is resentment over phone calls worth risking the entire league? Are multi-million-dollar demands in front of a few thousand fans worth having no league at all? Because the numbers already answered that. Without the WNBA, most of these players don't have a platform, an audience, or leverage. That's not an insult, it's reality, a reality that requires humility, gratitude, and strategy instead of grievance and self-sabotage. The WNBA gave these players opportunities that wouldn't exist in a pure free market. The least they could do is not destroy it. But that would require admitting mistakes. And that would require letting go of an ideology that says anyone who demands more is automatically owed more, so they'll keep pushing. They'll keep threatening, they'll keep letting conflicted leaders steer the ship. And if the league collapses, they'll blame everyone but themselves. What do you think? Are WNBA players right to hold out, or are they burning their own future? Drop your thoughts below. Hit subscribe, and let me know if you think there will even be a 2026 WNBA season.